Good day everyone, I am Josemel Puna. Today, I am going to report the person-centered theory of Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers is a scientist, therapist, and personality theorist. He was born on January 8, 1902 in Oak Park, Illinois, the fourth of six children born to Walter and Julia Cushing Rogers. Rogers had intended to become a farmer, and after he graduated from high school, he entered the University of Wisconsin as an agriculture major. However, he soon became less interested in farming and more devoted to religion. In 1924, Rogers entered the Union Theological Seminary in New York, with the intention of becoming a minister. Fall of 1926, he left the seminary to attend Teachers College on a full-time basis with a major in clinical and educational psychology. In 1927, Rogers served as a fellow at the New Institute of Children Guidance in New York City and continued to work there while completing his doctoral degree. Rogers received a PhD from Columbia in 1931 after having already moved to New York with the Rochester Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. In 1936, Rogers invited Rank to Rochester for a 3-day seminar to present his new post-Freudian practice of psychotherapy. In 1935, he wrote his first book, The Clinical Treatment of the Problem Child. Rogers gradually conceptualized his own ideas on psychotherapy, not intending them to be unique and certainly not controversial. These ideas were put forth in Counseling and Psychotherapy, published in 1942. In this book, which was a reaction to the older approaches to therapy, Rogers minimized the causes of disturbances and the identification and labeling of disorders. Instead, he emphasized the importance of growth within the patient, called by Rogers the client. He wanting to expand his research and his ideas to psychiatry. Rogers accepted a position at the University of Wisconsin in 1957. Overview of client-centered theory. Carl Rogers is the best known as the founder of client-centered therapy. He developed a humanistic theory of personality that grew out of his experiences as a practicing psychotherapist. He was more concerned with helping people than discovering why they behaved as they did, and he was likely to ask, "How can I help this person grow and develop?" than to ponder the question, "What caused this person to develop in this manner?" person-centered theory, a talk therapy wherein a client does most of talking, uses a non-authoritative approach that allows clients to take more of a lead in discussions so that in the process they will discover their own solutions. The therapist acts as a compassionate facilitator, listening without judgment and acknowledging the client's experience without moving the conversation in another direction. For example is the guidance and counseling, kung saan hinahayaan ng guidance counselor ang kaniyang kliyente na magpahayag ng nararamdaman o saloobin at magdesisyon para sa sariling pagbabago ng konsepto o pananaw sa sarili. Pero, palagi pa rin nandyan ang guidance counselor na i-facilitate at tulungan ang kliyente na malinawagan sa bawat desisyon na kanyang gagawin upang mas maintindihan ang mga bagay na dapat niyang malaman ng lubos at nang sa gayon ay magkaroon ito ng magandang epekto sa kanyang pagbabago. Sa ganitong proseso ay ipinagbabawal sa mga counselors or therapists or future human services provider ang pagbibigay ng desisyon para sa kliyente upang maiwasan ang sisihan at para madiskubre ng kliyente ang kaniyang sariling kakayanan at kahinaan at upang matuto ang kliyente na magdesisyon para sa kaniyang sarili. Kahit na wala na ang counselor o ang therapist, kaya niyang tumayo sa kaniyang sariling paanan, sa kaniyang sarili. The therapist is there to encourage and support the client and to guide the therapeutic process without interrupting or interfering with the client's process of self-discovery. Kagaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina na hindi pwede na makikialam yung counselor or therapist sa self-discovery ng kliyente. Andyan lang yung counselor or therapist para suportahan yung client, i-guide sa therapeutic process. Pero hindi siya yung magdedesisyon para sa kliyente. That is why Rogers believed that everyone is different and therefore everyone's view of his or her own world should be trusted. Dapat paniwalaan ng bawat isa. Which is true. We humans have different kind of point of view or different the way we think. That is why we can't please everyone. Rogers believed also that everyone have the ability to manage the situation either positive or negative. He also believed that all of us have the power to find the best solution, so that is why, at the end of the day, we are still the one who can find the solution of our own issues and problem. Yun ang paniniwala ni Carl Rogers sa ating bawat isa. What are the two basic assumptions of person-centered theory? There are two basic assumptions of person-centered theory that Rogers postulated. First is formative tendency. Formative tendency is a creative process in operation, a tendency for all matter, both organic and inorganic, to evolve from simpler to more complex forms. So, ibig sabihin, nanggaling sa hindi natin alam, from affirmative unconsciousness to highly organized awareness. Sa hindi natin alam hanggang sa alam na natin yung isang bagay, or sa walang halaga pero nagkaroon ng halaga, o hindi naman kaya nanggaling sa simple patungo sa komplikadong sitwasyon. Halimbawa, sa isang sitwasyon, may isang estudyante na ini-refer sa guidance office kasi palagi siyang lumiliban. Hindi natin alam kung bakit siya lumiliban sa klase. That moment or that time na pumunta yung estudyante sa guidance office kasi ini-refer siya and nag-undergo siya ng guidance and counseling process or ng counseling process, doon na natin nalalaman yung sagot sa tanong natin na kung bakit siya palaging lumiliban sa klase. Nalalaman na natin through undergoing the counseling process. Kasi ang goal ng person-centered theory or ng formative tendency or ng person-centered theory, ma-express ng client ang kanyang deep emotions. At doon na pumapasok ang actualizing tendency na mailabas niya. Then, from that moment na nailabas niya, magsisimula tayo sa pinakasimple kung bakit siya lumiliban, ano ang mga rason kung bakit siya ayaw pumasok sa klase niya. So, from simple to complex. Kasi hindi naman pwede na diretso tayo sa complex. Hindi nga natin alam yung pinakapunot dulo ng dahilan kung bakit ganun yung pag-uugali ng estudyante towards sa kanyang academic. So, in that case, nalalaman na natin yung mga reasons. Na-aware na tayo. So, the next is actualizing tendency. Actualizing tendency is to express deep emotions of the client, and at the end, the client must accept his or herself. Dapat tanggapin niya kung ano siya. The goal of this tendency is to move toward completion of fulfillment of potentials. Dapat ma-fulfill, ma-satisfy yung client. Either human, animals, or plants. Dapat ma-express niya yung mga kailangan niyang maisabi, mga emotions niya, mga nararamdaman niya, mga hinaing niya sa buhay. Para ma-satisfy siya, para maibsan yung sakit na nararamdaman niya. There are three conditions becoming a fully functioning or self-actualizing person. First is unconditional positive regard, which means the therapist must be empathetic and non-judgmental to convey their feelings of understanding, trust, and confidence that encourage their client to make their own decisions and choices. So, as a future human services provider, a guidance counselor, or a therapist, kailangan natin na palagi tayong positive. Yung the way tayo makiusap sa ating client, dapat in assertive way. Hindi tayo dapat bossy. Kasi hindi kasi may times na hindi mag-o-open up yung client natin kapag sobrang bossy naman tayo. Dapat positive regard lang tayo na makikita ng client natin na kaya natin silang tulungan sa kanilang problema. Pwede natin gamitin ang hindi natin sila pakikialaman kung ano man yung opinion nila. Hindi tayo dapat maging judgmental, wala tayong filters in dealing with our client or habang nasa counseling process tayo para maging effective yung ating yung counseling process. Dapat may confidence tayo while facing our client. Dapat ma-feel nila na trusted sila, na trusted tayo. And the next is empathetic understanding, which means therapists completely understand and accept their clients' thoughts and feelings. One of my example of this condition is dapat ang isang therapist or client, hindi natin pwede ipakita sa kanila na against tayo sa mga sinasabi nila. Dapat ipo-feel natin sa kanila na naiintindihan natin yung empathy nandoon. Na kahit na hindi man natin naranasan physically, pero yung emotions na sensitive tayo sa client natin. Naiintindihan natin sila. Kasi I have seen a movie, or alam nyo ba ito na movie? The entitled 13 Reasons Why. Isa kasi, sa isang particular scene kasi doon, yung guidance counselor, parang kino-contradict niya yung sinasabi ng client niya. Pero hindi siya naniniwala na yung client niya ay may pinagdadaanan. The 30 reasons why kasi na situation is yung client has experienced a sexual abuse. He was raped by his classmate. And na-experience niyang ma-rape. Tapos, wala na siyang ibang malapitan. All of her classmates or all of her friends alam yung nangyari, na-rape siya. Pero, ni isa sa kanya, walang naniwala. Walang naniwala na na-rape siya. Kasi ang naging palabas doon is, ginusto niya na merong mangyari sa kanila. Which is, hindi niya ginusto. Sadyang, talagang finor siya to have sex with his classmate. And ang last na naging option niya, pumunta siya sa guidance office nila sa school para to seek some guidance. Kung ano ang dapat niyang gawin. Kasi gusto niya nang i-stop yun lahat. Gusto niya nang magbago. Pero gusto niya kalimutan yung nangyari. But, yung nangyari, nag-resist yung client. Kasi, while they are having their arguments, kumbaga yung naging asal ng isang guidance counselor doon, parang contradict or ina-against niya, yung the way of questioning niya, parang naging kakalabasan, nagsisinungaling yung client. Yun yung naging kalabasan nun. Na parang nagsisinungaling yung client niya, parang hindi siya naniniwala kaagad. Kaya ang nangyari, nag-resist yung client at na-upset siya. Hindi na tapos yung argument nila, lumabas yung student, then yung client lumabas, but nag-a-assume pa rin siya na hahabulin siya ng guidance counselor, but hindi nga siya na parang hindi siya napagtuunan ng pansin ng guidance counselor doon. Kaya ang nangyari at the end, nag-suicide siya. Nagpakamatay siya. So, bilang isang guidance counselor or therapist or human services provider, kailangan natin na completely na ipadama, na ipaunawa sa kanila, ipa-feel sa kanila na iintindihan natin sila. Pwede natin gamitin yung non-verbal gestures, but kailangan lang natin i-limit kung saan. Kung ano yung limitation, alamin natin yung limitation natin kasi there are some clients na ayaw nilang i-hug, ayaw nilang i-tap, ayaw nilang magpahawak. So if you feel that it's okay for him or her to hug or to tap his shoulder, then go. And the last is congruence, which means therapists carry no air of authority, of professional superiority, but instead present a true and accessible self that clients can see is honest and transparent. So, yung congruence, kagaya ng example ko kanina, parang hindi siya aminado na may nangyari sa client niya. So, incongruent sila. Sa client, merong nangyari. Pero sa guidance sa counselor, parang nagdadalawang isip pa siya. So, incongruence. Kaya nagiging conflict. So, para maiwasan, we should consider this kind of characteristics. Dapat hindi tayo superior. Para naman ma-feel nila na naiintindihan natin sila. Natotoo tayo sa kanila. Hindi natin sila nilalaruan. Kundi nandito tayo para tulungan sila. Para malampasan yun lahat. The self and self-actualization. Self-actualization, the tendency to actualize self as perceived in awareness. Paano ba tayo maging aware? Perceive, becoming aware. Paano? How? Self-concept includes all those aspects of one's being and one's being experiences that are perceived in awareness. Yung mga karanasan. Ano yung naranasan natin? Para maging aware tayo. For example, kung naranasan natin na hindi natin na-feel yung love ng parents natin, in the near future, hindi natin gusto na ma-feel natin kung magkakanak tayo, hindi natin gusto na ma-feel nila yung na-feel natin in the past. Kaya na-aware na tayo before na hindi mo na-feel paano na-love ng parents. So, in the near future, ipag-feel mo na sa kanya yun. Because, perceive in awareness, paano maging aware. Experiences that are inconsistent with their self-concept usually are either denied or accepted in distorted forms. Changes is possible but difficult only when there is an atmosphere of acceptance. So, kung tanggap mo kung anong meron ka, ano ka noon, there are possible na magbabago ka. But there are times talaga na mahirap. Kasi hindi naman kasi kaagad na magbabago ka kaagad. For example, sabihin natin, bukas dapat ganito na yung ugali ko. Hindi na ako suplada. But, hindi kasi yan siya madalian. There is a process. Hindi siya pagkabukas, one click lang, hindi ka na maldita. Rogers postulated two self-subsystems, the self-concept and the ideal self. So, your ideal self is one view of self as one wishes to be from the world itself. Wishes to be, yung gusto mo maging, ano yung gusto maging yung pagiging ikaw. At yung organic self naman is the sum of person's experiences, predispositions of all levels, psychological, cognitive, and emotional. Yung ikaw, yung sariling ikaw, organic, from self-concept, yung konsepto mo, ano yung mga pananaw mo, yung mga experiences mo, yung ikaw, versus sa ideal self mo. incongruence, a wide gap between the ideal self and self-concept or self-concept and organic self. There is a wide gap between the ideal self and self-concept or self-concept and organic self. Organic self or self-concept ay iisa lang. Merong gap if yung organic self mo at ideal self mo is incongruence. For example, gusto natin ng changes, pero wala ka namang ginagawa. So there is a gap. Gusto mo nga ng pagbabago pero wala ka namang ginagawang aksyon. So, may incongruence siya. Hindi siya akma. Hindi akma yung organic self mo sa ideal self mo. Kaya, nahihirapan kang abutin yung ideal self mo. Then, psychologically healthy people perceive little discrepancy between their self-concept and what ideally would like to be. So, kung tanggap mo kung anong meron ka ngayon, so, magiging psychologically healthy ka. But if hindi mo tanggap kasi gusto mong abutin yung hindi mo pa maabot-abot, then, mapafall ka na sa psychologically ill or psychologically nahihirapan ka na sa psychology. Magiging barrier na siya sa iyo. Magiging disorganized ka na, and so on. Awareness. Common word, and we hear this every now and then. Being aware is not only for the people around or the situation that we have, but also being aware to ourselves. Aware ba tayo sa ating sarili? For example of this is posting on social media. We need to consider or remember these questions to ourselves for us to become aware if we are doing good or not. First is, am I aware of what am I posting? Aware ba ako kung ano ang pinopost ko sa social media? Do I have the basis to accuse them? Meron ba akong mga sapat na mga ebidensya or mga pinagkukunan na impormasyon para sabihin ko na ganun ang ginawa nila? What will be the impact or effects of this to the society and to myself? Ano yung mga impact, mga effects bago ako mag-post nito? Ano yung kalalabasan? Maganda ba? Okay lang ba sa kanila? Okay lang ba sa mga viewers ko? Sa mga friends ko sa Facebook, sa Twitter, sa Instagram? Ano yung effect sa iyo? Yung effect sa sarili ko? Maganda ba? O ikakasira ng sarili ko? Then, the last is, what will be the contribution if I post this? Ano ba ang mai-contribute ko sa community kung ipopost ko ito? Makakause ba ako ng awareness sa iba? O magbibigay ako ng conflict para pag-awayan ng tao? Ano bang contribution? Maganda ba? O Ikaw yung nagkakos ng, ako yung nagkakos ng problema kapag na-post ko ito. Lahat yun na question are posible, na ma-evaluate natin yung sarili natin, how to become aware of ourselves. Just like example lang po yan. Kasi of what happening right now, most of Filipino people are posting in any social media platforms against the government officials. Oo, nasa democratic tayo na society, pero mayroong iba na nasosobrahan na sa pagpo-post at paglalabas ng hinaing at ang nagiging dahilan kung bakit lalaki ang problema. Kasi marami na, even mga bata ngayon, alam na paano gumamit ng Facebook. Hindi sila aware sa sarili nila kung ano ba ang magiging epekto nito kapag ito yung pinost ko. Post lang ng post. Kaya hindi ka na, kahit na feeling mo mali, pero post pa rin ng post kasi hindi ka nga aware or hindi mo in-evaluate yung sarili mo. So, awareness is important at this time. Especially we are experiencing pandemic and calamities. We should be aware because if without awareness, the self-concept and ideal self would not exist. Yes, we want to have a good, for example, we want to have a good governance, that is our ideal self, but if we don't have an awareness to our self-concept, it is still useless. Gusto natin na maganda yung patakaran, pero hindi naman tayo aware sa ating sa ating self-concept. Wala pa rin siyang kalalabasan. Hindi pa rin maganda. Instead na tumulong ka para baguhin yung kung ano yung gusto mo, tumulong ka kung ano yung gusto mong maabot sa community natin. Pero yung ginawa mo naman ay kabaliktaran. Instead na mag-contribute ka ng mga good, positive approaches, ang ginawa mo naman is negative, talagang wala. Useless talaga. Kaya, importante talaga ang awareness. Especially sa sarili at sa ibang tao. Level of awareness. First, some events are experienced below their should of awareness reaction. First, ignore. When there are too many stimuli that are necessary For example, pag marami ng mga informations na darating, aware ka na. So, ang gagawin mo, i-ignore mo na lang. Kasi alam mo na yan, paulit-ulit. Alam mo na kasi. So, ignore mo. The second is denied. The idea is driven by guilt. For example, there is President Duterte has a supporter. Alam nila na mali yung ginawa ni President Duterte, but kasi support sila kay President Duterte, dinideny nila yung mali na ginawa ni President Duterte. And like, ganun pa din kay Vice President Leni. Kasi may supporter siya, yung alam naman ng supporter niya na mali yung ginawa ni Vice President Leni. Pero tinatabunan pa rin nila, dinideny nila na hindi yun mali kasi supporter sila. Alam nila na may mali, pero dinideny pa rin, denial, dinideny nila. Nagigilt sila kaya dinideny nila na merong mali na nagawa si Vice President, may mali na nagawa si President Duterte. Then the second is, some experiences are accurately symbolized and freely admitted to the self-structure, non-threatening and consistent with self-concept. Ang second level of awareness naman ay, alam mo nang may mali. Alam mo na may mali na nagawa. Pero, accept mo na mali talaga. Hindi na siya mababago, kundi mali na talaga siya. Accept mo na. Freely admitted. Na-admit mo na, okay, mali ako. Okay, hindi pala tama yung nagawa ko. Hindi mo na siya i-deny. Hindi mo na siya i-ignore. Lumevel up na yung awareness mo. Ganun pala, mali pala yun. Okay. Next time, hindi ka na gagawin. Non-threatening. And the last is, some experiences that are perceived in a distorted from when out experiences are not consistent with our view of self. We reshape or distort them so that it can be assimilated into our existing self-concept. We reshape or distort. The third level of awareness, reshape, distort. Kasi alam mo na may mali, nasa sa iyo na yun. Kung babaguhin mo ba or hindi. Reshape or distort them. Kung alam mo na may mali, gusto mo pa bang i-continue or babaguhin? So, let's go back to the person-centered theory. While sa pagpaprocess how to become a person, so gaya ng sinabi ko, alam na natin na may mali. Kaya nasa sa atin na yung desisyon kung babaguhin ba natin siya or hindi. So, first na level of awareness is hindi mo pa matatanggap. Hindi mo patanggap. First is i-ignore mo muna. Then second is i-deny mo kasi nagigilty ka. Then the second is Kasi hindi naman kasi pare-pareho ng perception yung tao. Hindi pare-pareho ng pag-iisip. There are difference. So there are some people na i-deny nila yung mga bagay-bagay. Hindi nila kaagad na na-accept. Meron namang iba na pag nalaman nila yung mali or yung when they discover sila ng something, na-accept nila kaagad. At meron ding iba na tinitake ito, yung level of awareness na tinitake nila positive or negative. Yung iba, pag positive, tinitake nila ng positive yung level of awareness nila, na pagsabihan sila ng ganito, okay, babaguhin na nila through the process, hinihinay. Then, yung iba naman, depende sa kanila kung i-maintain ba nila yun, o babaguhin na ba nila, or hindi. That's the level of awareness. There are different level of awareness. Denial of positive experiences. First is complement. Even those genuinely dependent seldom have positive influence on the self-concept of the recipient. They may be distorted because the person distrusts the giver, or they may be denied because the recipient does not feel deserving of them. The second is complement of another also implies the right of the person to criticize or condemn it. So, denial of positive experiences. This is normal. Denial is part of a process. Sometimes we deny things, especially if we are not ready. Pag hindi pa natin tanggap, deny ng deny. Kasi ayaw natin na masaktan yung isang tao. Kaya dinideny natin. Pero kalaunan, meron ring negative effect itong denial. Kasi kapag deny ka ng deny, hindi mo masabi-sabi yung totoo, nagkakaroon ka na ng psychological barriers. Kasi hindi ka na organized mag-isip. Kasi magkakaroon ka na ng magkaka-overthink ka na. Kasi paano kung malaman niya? Mag-overthink ka, anxiety. Kaya, it is a threat din sa isang tao na palaging nagdi-deny ng mga experiences. How to become a person or becoming a person. An individual must make a contact with another person. Kailangan natin, para magiging tao tayo, kailangan natin ng ibang tao. Kagaya nga ng kasabihan nila, no man is an island. In order to survive. Minimum experience is necessary to become a person. Kailangan natin mag-survive. And from that experiences, necessary to becoming a person, kailangan natin yung experience na yun para maging isang tao. Kasi kung hindi natin na-experience yun, hindi natin alam kung paano magiging tao. Hindi natin alam na yun pala ay maikakabuti. Yung experiences pala na yun, dun mo may mga learnings ka na nalalaman. Second is, they value positive regard. They need to be loved, liked, or accepted by another person. Para maging isang tao ka, kailangan mong maramdaman yung love at kailangan mong be loved. Kailangan mong maramdaman na mahal ka, na gusto ka, accepted ka ng ibang tao. Just like, for example, for the LGBTQ community. If they are not accepted by other people, they can't be a person. Because palagi silang nagtatago. Hindi nila ma-express yung sariling sila. Yung talagang sila. So that's why acceptance is very important rin para maging isang tao ka. Para rin sa sarili mo, acceptance. As a people become aware that another person has some reward for them, they begin to value positive regard and devalue negative reward. Pag na-feel mo yung love na kailangan mo, yung gusto mo, yung acceptance na gusto mo, yung mga tao na nagbibigay sa'yo ng mga ganong bagay, i-value mo sila. May price sila sa'yo. May importante sila sa iyo. Hindi mo sila i-negative regard. Hindi mo sila i-devalue, kundi i-value. And the last is experience positive self-regard, defined as the experience of prizing or valuing oneself. Yun na yung sinabi ko, pinavalue mo na yung sarili mo, pinavalue mo yung mga taong importante sa iyo. It requires the experience of positive regard first. Kailangan talaga yung first positive regard, yung experience mo na mahalin ka, experience mo sa ibang tao, yun yung requirement. But once self-regard is established, it becomes independent of the continual need to be loved and is now self-perpetuating. Barriers to psychological health. First is condition of worth. They preserve their parents, peers, and partners love and accept them only when they meet their expectations and approval. So, kung conditions, kumbaga ba, nagiging barrier yung condition of worth. For example, kung hindi mo naranasan na mahalin, di syempre, yung experience mo, baling meron ka ng hindrance sa sarili mo na, hindi nga ako na-love ng parents ko, ikaw pa, na-love ko. Parang ganun. Hindi mo nga ako binigyan ng ganito, ikaw bibigyan ko. Meron kang condition, bigyan mo muna ako nito para bigyan kita ng ganyan. That's the condition of worth. Hindi nila na-meet yung expectation ng isang tao o yung approval. So, ganun yung naging outcome niya. External evaluation positive or negative. Kung iti-take niya ba yung mga ano niya na mga sinabi sa kanya na positive or negative, other people self which do not foster psychological health but rather prevent us from being able to completely open ourselves from new experiences. Merong iba na tinitake yung mga negative experiences nila as positive para the next time na ma-experience nila ulit yon, alam na nila kung ano yung gagawin nila kasi naranasan na. meron na silang lesson learned na nakuha doon. Second, barriers to psychological health. Incongruence. Psychological disequilibrium begins when we fail to recognize our organismic experiences as self-experiences because they appear to be inconsistent with our emerging self-concept. For example, from the picture, ideal you versus real you. Nagkakaroon ka na ng psychological health, American barriers to psychological health kapag hindi mo na nare-recognize kung ano yung totoo at hindi totoo sa iyo. That leads discrepancy and seemingly make behaviors inconsistent. Sometimes we behave in a manner designed to maintain or enhance our self-concept founded on other people's expectation and evaluation for us. The effects of incongruence. Vulnerability. The greater the incongruence, the more vulnerable we are. Rogers believed that people are vulnerable when they have no awareness of discrepancies or incongruence. Yung hindi na nila alam, hindi na sila aware sa anong ginagawa nila. Kaya nagkakaroon ka ng conflict. Hindi na maganda yung pag-iisip mo. Then, anxiety and threat. Ito na yung kasi nag-overthink ka na, takot ka na. Our experience when people start to gain awareness of the discrepancy or incongruence. O alam mo na kung ano yung mga hindi mo na fulfill, hindi ka na satisfied. Anxiety state, uneasiness or tension whose cause is unknown. Takot ka sa hindi mo alam na bagay. Threat, an awareness that ourself is no longer whole or congruent. Alam mo parang, hindi naman ako ganito dati. Bakit ako naging ganito? Hindi naman ako ganito. Anxiety and threat, however, can represent steps towards psychological health because they signal to us that our organismic experience are inconsistent with our self-concept. And the third is defensiveness. Kasi nga, ayaw na natin, nag-resist na tayo, ayaw na natin makinig, takot na tayo, may barriers na tayo, because of the negative, ayaw natin tanggapin yung mga negative feedbacks, mga experiences natin, ayaw na natin makinig, ayaw na natin sila makita, ayaw mo nang kumibo. That's a conflict. Yan ay barriers ating psychological health. The protection of self-concept against anxiety and threat by the denial, kasi deny lang tayo mag-deny. Distortion of experiences inconsistent with it. When one of our experience is inconsistent, hindi na tama, with one part of our self-concept, we will behave in a defensive manner. Hindi ka pa nga tapos kinakausap, galit ka na, moody ka na. Tinatanong ka pa lang, galit ka na, mataas na yung boses mo. In order to protect the current structure of our self-concept. Two chief defenses. First is denial, refusal to perceive an experience in awareness. Instead na merong mga mga bagay na dapat mong malaman, ayaw mong malaman, dinedeny mo, nire-refuse mo sila, ini-ignore mo, ayaw mo nang makinig, yung sinabi ko kanina, ayaw mo nang kumibo, ayaw mo nang makita. Second is distortion, misinterpretation of an experience in order to fit into some aspects of our self-concept. We perceive the experience in our awareness, but we fail to understand it. Hindi na natin alam kung ano ang nangyayari. Denial, distortion keep our perception of our organismic experiences with our self-concept, which allows the blocking or ignoring of our experiences that otherwise cause an unpleasant anxiety or threat. The last is disorganization. Hindi na tama yung pag-iisip mo. Hindi ka na organize mo isip. When the incongruence between people and their organismic experience is either too obvious or occurs too suddenly to be denied or distorted, when their self-concept is no longer undefined. Origin discrepancy between people's organismic experience and their view of self-ideal or ideal self. For example, a woman who is prudish and proper suddenly begins to use explicit sexual and scatological language. A man who behaves in a confused, inconsistent, and totally unpredictable manner. Yung bigla ka na lang nagagalit, disorganized ka na, hindi ka na, masasabi mo talaga sa sarili mo na, hindi ka naman ganito noon. Kasi meron ka ng mga, from the start of deny, hindi ka na nakakalabas, hindi mo na nalalabas yung totoo, nahihirapan ka na, until sa, meron ng effect sa psychological mo. May effect na yung psychological health mo. Psychotherapy. Client-centered therapy is deceptively simple in statement but decidedly difficult in practice. Mahirap talaga na i-practice ang person-centered theory or client-centered therapy kasi there are possible na madadala ka sa client mo emotionally, physically, mentally, yung parang kung ano yung na-feel ng iyong client, yun rin yung mafe-feel mo. Briefly, the client-centered approach holds that in order for vulnerable and anxious people to grow psychologically, who is congruent and whom they perceive as providing an atmosphere of unconditional acceptance and accurate empathy. But therein lies the difficulty, nandun yung mahirap, the qualities of congruence and conditional positive regard and empathetic understanding are not easy for a counselor to attain. Hindi siya madaling ma-attain ang mga qualities, yung mga conditions, if isa sa inyo is not nag-take in place siya. Hindi congruence, hindi siya positive regard, at wala siya empathetic understanding. Mahirapan talaga. Kaya every time na magdi-deal or having a counseling process, the therapist or the counselors must emotionally, physically, and mentally prepared in dealing with the client. Dapat prepared ka, malakas ka, hindi ka dali-daling nadadala. Alam mo yung mga qualities mo, alamin mo lahat ng mga pwede mong maging asset para matulungan mo yung client. Though, hindi siya madali. Like person-centered theory, the client-centered counseling approach can be stated in an if and then fashion. If the conditions of therapy is congruence, unconditional positive regard, and empathetic listening are present in a client-counselor relationship, then the process of the therapy will transpire. If the process of the therapy takes place, then certain outcomes can be predicted. Rogerian therapy, therefore, can be viewed in the terms of conditions, process, and outcomes. So, makikita natin sa person-centered theory yung conditions. Yung tatlong conditions na congruence, unconditional, and positive regard. Mamimit natin yung satisfaction ng ating client through the process of the therapy. In that process, we should have the goal, the outcomes. What would be our outcomes? What would be our goal? That can be predicted while having our therapy process or process of therapy. Para masatisfy natin yung ating client, para matulungan natin ang client. Alamin natin yung conditions, gagawa tayo ng process, ipaprocess natin, hindi kasi madali. One by one, i-organize natin saan ba nagsimula, hanggang sa paano niya na i-handle, paano niya nasusolusyonan yung problema niya. Iisa-isahin natin yun until makam up natin yung outcomes. Na ano yung goal natin, na yung una-una pa lang na predictable na alam natin na dapat ganito yung outcome ko. Dapat masasatisfy ko yung client. Related research compared to Maslow theory. Rogers' idea on the power of unconditional positive regard generated quite a bit of empirical research. Indeed, Rogers' own research on his three necessary and sufficient conditions for psychological growth were precursors to positive psychology and have been further supported by modern research. Moreover, Rogers' notion of incongruence between real and ideal self and motivation to pursue goals have sparked continued interest from researchers. Critique of Rogers. How will the Rogerian theory satisfy the 6 criteria of a useful theory? First, does it generate research and suggest testable hypotheses? It only received an average rating on its ability to spark research activity within the general field of personality, even though it has produced much research in psychotherapy and classroom learning. Number 2, high on falsifiability rating. Rogers was one of only a few theorists whose theory is an if-then framework, and it only leads to either confirmation or disconfirmation. In this theory, therapy resulted to falsification. Thus, person-centered theory organized knowledge into meaningful framework. Although his theory has been limited to interpersonal relations, it went beyond the consulting room and included group dynamics, classroom learning, social problems, and interpersonal relations. Number 4. How will thus person-centered theory serve as a guide for the solution of practical problems? For the psychotherapist, the answer is unequivocal. To bring about personality change, the therapist must possess congruence and be able to demonstrate empathetic understanding and unconditional positive regard for the client. Rogers suggested that these three conditions are both necessary and sufficient to affect growth in any interpersonal relationship, including those outside of therapy. 5. Is person-centered theory internally consistent with a set of operational definitions? The person-centered theory was rated very high for its consistency and its careful work about operational definitions. And the last is Rogerian theory, parsimonious and free from cumbersome concepts and difficult language. The theory itself is unusually clear and economical, but some of the language is awkward and vague. Concept of humanity. Rogers believed that people have some degree of free choice and some capacity to be self-directed. So Rogers believed that everyone has a free will, free choice, but we need to become aware. We have our own choice, we have our free will, but we need to become aware. We should be aware of ourselves. We can control our behavior, we can predict. Admitting that some proportion of human behavior is controlled, predictable, and low fault. Rogers argued the important values and choices are within the scope of personal control. We have our free will, free choice, but we need to become aware. Concept of humanity. Throughout his longer career, Rogers remained cognizant of the human capacity for great evil, yet his concept of humanity is realistically optimistic. He believed that people are essentially toward self-accusation. People are basically trustworthy, socialized, and constructive. They ordinarily know what is best for themselves, and will strive for completion provided they are prized and understood by another healthy individual. That's all. Thank you.